Yeah, but we killed the wasps because wasps are a-holes and they sting just because they feel like stinging. Not Ross, hornets. Hornets are just, they get in the mood and decide, I'm going to poke my butt into you and it's going to hurt.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God, there's another wasp.
Seriously? Get the hell out of here. You're fired.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
I just bumped the mic. We're the Youngs, and I'm...
Get your shit together. What? Do we need to redo the whole thing?
No, we're keeping it.
Okay.
Keep it in.
Okay. So,
Podcast day.
welcome back. I already said that.
Welcome back. How you doing?
How you doing? If you don't know who we are, if you're a new listener, I'm Veronica.
I'm Alex.
And we are the Youngs.
We're the Youngs. We already said that, though. I said that.
So, a couple things. One, as we are filming this as of today, Matthew Perry died 2 days ago.
Yes, he did.
R.I.P. Chandler.
And I just found out Aaron Spears died.
Oh my gosh.
Most of you probably have no clue who that is.
Okay, so
he
sure.
is a big time drummer. He used to drum for Usher. It's probably one of the bigger things that he's done. He's drummed for pretty much every huge hip hop, pop.
If you didn't know, Alex
artist.
is a drummer. He's a musician.
Huge inspiration.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Very sad.
I'm very sad about Matt. Oh my gosh.
Your boy Matt.
Like I know him.
Your boy Matt. It's just a whole sad situation.
That is so sad. Oh my gosh. Chandler was just like such a light on Friends, and I'm like
It's not even about Chandler.
Well, I know, but like I am just like a huge Friends fan.
Right.
But really just like Matthew Perry's life and how much like he has been vulnerable in the last several years of his sobriety and things like that. Like
and genuinely helping people that are struggling with the exact same thing.
Yeah. Just so sad. So sad.
And helping with their faith, and he wants to be more known for that than Friends.
Yeah.
I know Friends is a big impact, and he made people laugh and everything, but like the real part of it.
Yeah.
Like he even was quoted saying like when he goes, he knows it's not going to be a thing.
Right.
But he wants to be known for that over Friends.
Yeah. Ugh. So sad. Okay. So I had an idea. Let's start out this podcast with one random fact. Now it has to be like obscure. It can't be boring or anything like that. I already know mine.
Fact the first.
I already know mine, and you probably don't even know this about me. So I know.
You holding out?
It's really not that interesting, but people are gonna be like, "Wow, that's weird."
That's weird that you haven't told me, or that's weird that just because it's weird?
I think when I say it, you're not going to be surprised, but other people are going to be like, that's such a random fact.
Okay.
Go ahead. I don't want to go. No,
I don't
want to go first. No.
I'm going to use the one that I always use because I never tell people. But
you cannot say that, Alex.
I'm a triplet.
That is a cop-out.
Hey,
that is an actual cop-out.
You're born with what you're born with, and I can hold out on people and
use
that as like
no.
icebreaker.
Come on. Something way more interesting.
I'm not that interesting.
You are.
I'm not that interesting.
No, like just something way more random.
I don't really have random things.
I know one for you.
That's like a fact about me.
I know one for you.
What?
There is a TikTok page called A Suburban...
Oh, my favorite TikTok account.
Okay, what is your favorite TikTok account? Just one random fact about you.
Just random fact.
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite TikTok account is a dog.
Yeah.
And it's Suburban Good Boy.
He's a little pitty. He's cute.
You know that like weird like
voice
modulated voice effect?
Yeah.
They narrate this page.
Yeah. From the dog's perspective.
The dog's perspective, and Dad is the chosen one. Mom is the spare. Mom is not. He's a destructive little boy.
He's a naughty boy.
He is my favorite.
It's so good. I feel
like they don't post enough.
I know they definitely don't post enough. I feel like this page kind of started the trend of like TikTok pages, like narrated dog TikTok pages. I feel like they truly started the trend. I don't know if that's true. Don't cancel me for that. I don't know. But I feel like once I saw that one and they have a pretty decent following, I started seeing them all over.
Like people were copying like even what they're saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. They kill it. I love it. We'll have to link it because it's just every time there's one,
when
Alex
you
is
see
like,
a new one, I get
he's like,
it makes my day.
Yeah, it totally does.
I get to watch it. Great.
Yeah. Okay, so one random fact about me is I think that I watched one TikTok and then they started coming up on my For You page, and now every time there is one, I will sit there and watch the whole thing. I don't know the technical term of it. I probably should have done a little bit more research before I talked about this, but it's the filing of horse hooves.
Oh, so reshoeing horses. You're reshoeing horses.
You reshoe them, yeah.
So they take the shoe off and then they have to file
They file it,
yeah.
so it is so
it's a horse pedicure.
It's so aesthetically pleasing to watch, and I've watched so many that I think by now, if someone was like, "Hey, Veronica, can you go like reshoe my horse?" I could do it. Because so they just like scrape away like
they pry off the shoe first.
Well, yeah, they pry that off, and I didn't know that it was like actually nailed in there, but it doesn't hurt them.
Well, it's like nailed into what equates to a hoof, like their toenail.
Yeah, basically their toenail. Yeah,
but it's like way.
But they
thicker.
they have this tool that they like file in, and like it's like a whole pattern that you do, and you get it to it's like a certain clean color, and then they file it. I know the whole process.
And they put a new shoe on it.
And then they put a new shoe on it.
And then make the other one into a game.
I love those TikToks, and that's just like so random.
At all, but I'm surprised you had never seen those before.
Well, I've never like seen a video until I saw it on TikTok.
I saw it on Instagram long time ago.
Oh, well.
But I'm not surprised you get hit with that, because you get hit and watch all of the animals with like the panda just randomly and the rabbit just eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the other rescue, like horse rescue.
Yeah. That's my For You page, guys.
Your For You page is animals.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, not 100%.
Well, and you also started watching that horse rescue place.
He primarily so he has an animal sanctuary. He primarily, I think, rescues dogs, but he has like all kinds of animals, and he has a special like love for horses, and he just posted a TikTok the other day. I can't remember what the name is. I'll have to
But there's another one you did
look it up. And he said that he's about to get like 20 horses.
You used to watch somebody else rescue horses. I'm just saying that's probably why you got hit with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess another fun fact about me is that like a dream of mine would be to have like an animal sanctuary.
An anima sanctuary?
An anima sanctuary. An animal.
Anime.
I've had coffee today,
anime sanctuary?
I haven't had coffee, and honestly, I've tried to have coffee like on and off for the last couple months, but for whatever reason, I'm going through this era where my body's not accepting coffee.
I think it's the milk, not the coffee.
And today I was able to actually have and enjoy a full cup of coffee. So now I'm like,
but it's hot coffee.
I'm wired.
I think it's hot coffee.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, excuse my,
You're maturing in your coffee, because you'll be drinking just black coffee here soon.
Probably.
You used to drink super sweet wine, and then you started drinking super dry red wine.
And now I don't drink at all.
Adult. Now we don't drink much at all.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little jittery, so I'm talking fast. Whatever. So yeah, another random fun fact is I would love to have an animal sanctuary, but that is like not what we're talking about today.
Not even close.
No, just wanted to open something up a little bit differently.
That's totally random.
Yeah. There's a wasp in here. Okay. I'm out. We had to pause the podcast. There was a wasp in here, or a hornet actually.
And your boy's allergic to hornets, or wasps or whatever.
Yeah, so if you really want to see Alex get afraid any flying bug.
Not really any
Did
flying
we tell
bug.
the cicada?
Yes, we told the cicada story.
Okay. Anyway. Anyway, what we were talking about.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
We're talking about a current story.
There was a story, I think about a week ago, maybe
2 weeks ago.
There was a photographer that had just shot a wedding.
Here in St. Louis.
Here in St. Louis. It was a national story. She flew home. I think she lived in Utah or something like that. Mm-hmm. Gets to Denver for a layover. Was to switch planes. Long story short.
She left her bag on the plane.
I think she left her bag on the plane. Whatever the case may be. Lost the bag, including the cards that were in the bag, which the cards had all the wedding stuff on it. And so they can't find the gear. Someone took it, or the airline lost it, or something happened.
So the bride's without photos, which is incredibly, like, sad.
Devastating.
That is devastating.
And I feel so bad for the photographer, just because.
I feel bad for the bride.
I feel bad for the couple for sure.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I'm empathetic toward the photographer because I don't know what I would do in that situation. Anyway, that's why we are talking about this topic and
the topic being
like how important it is to protect the client's investment, especially for a wedding, and what that entails. And I'm not just talking about the cards. I'm talking about everything. But because this topic is here, do we want to start with that, or do you want to get to that later?
Let's get to it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say protecting the investment, I mean, like, I make a joke with another local videographer about redundancies, and we say when we're going to make hashtag redundancies happen. We're usually only talking about audio and how important it is for something like a wedding to have as many audio redundancies as you can, because you can never predict if something might fail or if there's like a bad connection or something like that. So we like to have 2, 3, sometimes 4 redundancies for audio so that everything that we need to record audio-wise is gotten.
I actually did I did like a short interview with STL magazine and our STL Bride magazine, and they were asking me some questions, and one of the questions was what should brides be asking like photographers? It was mainly for photo, but for photographers and videographers, what are the types of questions that they should be asking them when they're interviewing them? I gave them a whole bunch of different things, but one of them was how does the photographer or videographer protect, their work or their cards, or like, do they back up? Like, what does the post process look like, making sure that everything that they've documented that day is protected? And that's one question that I think when you're looking for a photographer or videographer, you should be asking that question.
But that's what we're getting at, though. It's far more in depth than just the cards and backing stuff up and things like that. Like the audio thing, recording multiple sources of each piece of audio. So like if 3 people are giving a speech, you have a lapel on each individual person. You have a little recorder clipped to the microphone itself that they're speaking into. You have a feed from the DJ or the sound technician. So you have 3 minimum sources of that speech.
So protecting the client's investment is not just post-wedding, it's pre-wedding, during the wedding, and then obviously post-wedding. So there's lots of different, it's throughout the whole process. How are you protecting the client's investment?
So on the same token of the cards thing, we always, every single camera we shoot on is shot onto 2 cards simultaneously. So we have 2 copies immediately. That's common.
Which is like, I think, a common practice. I do know I have experienced working with other photographers where they don't take advantage of the fact that they have 2 slot camera.
Or they are newer.
And I'm like,
or they're newer and they only have a camera that has 1 slot. But I feel like even the cheaper cameras these days have 2 slots.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty common practice nowadays. But whether, you're taking advantage of the fact that you can double record, like, you should always do that.
100%.
That's like the number one.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But that's also a reason why we have, even for photography, multiple cameras. The photography side of it isn't just to have 2 separate lenses on 2 cameras. It comes in handy sometimes, but if there was some sort of failure with the one camera, just grab the other camera.
Right.
And just start using it instead.
Yeah, so I always have 2 cameras with me, at least.
But for video purposes,
you have like, oh my gosh.
Like for ceremony, there's 3, 4, 5 cameras sometimes. That's to give, I mean,
it's a multiple reasons
multiple
why.
Purposes. Like, one is to get all the different angles of that happening. But also, I mean, if somebody walks in front of a camera or a camera fails or whatever the case may be,
you can cut to a different angle.
There's 4 other angles of the same event. It might not be like the most ideal angle, but it's there. We have it.
Yeah.
And we have captured it.
So that's it. Like, as far as that goes, that's protecting the investment during. But what about pre? What do you think about that?
Beforehand?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't really done anything yet, per se.
So I think that part of that process is having a solid contract, because the contract is not just to protect us, it's to protect us as well as the client's rights and what we have to mutually agreed upon, delivering to them. So that's the contract that we have in place is to protect their investment.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm trying to think of what else comes, prior to the wedding.
I wouldn't say anything really as far as like the physical wedding itself. There wasn't, beforehand, you just have these things in place and you're planning and you're protected in case a catastrophic event.
Yeah.
Like if our cameras malfunction, we're protected by our camera because it's something out of our control. We're protected by our contract because it's something out of our control.
Yeah.
But that's in a worst case scenario. You don't want to get there.
No, for sure not.
So we do the things like multiple cameras backing up to two things, having redundancies for audio. After the wedding, even, we both will Veronica specifically.
Yeah, I can. My protection for the client.
It's a little bit different than mine, but it's still.
Yeah. So my system is I shoot dual cards all day long. And in each one of my cameras, aside from film, there's not much you can do there. But once I get home from the wedding, I upload all of the images onto a hard drive, and they're on a hard drive. But then they're also still on the cards, and I do not delete cards until I've delivered the wedding. Because I dual record, I will at least leave one of the cards, and I might have to erase one of them, but I double check that, they're all on there. And so I at least have, one of those cards from each part of the day that I will not delete until I have delivered a wedding. That way at all times, they're in at least two places, sometimes three.
So you have your work drive. This is similar to me. You have your work drive and you have your backup drive. Mm-hmm. And sometimes a secondary backup drive. Mm-hmm. So I do the same thing as much as I can. I have less cards because my cards are far more expensive.
Yeah.
But that's not to say I don't protect the investment, because I immediately, first thing I do, and you do, is
upload all.
Import all of the footage to a backup hard drive.
Yeah.
And then after that all of that footage and photos goes to an additional hard drive.
Yeah, you can't keep a card because, like you just said, you have less cards because they're more expensive. So you can't keep a card the whole length of, while you're editing that film. So
not always, sometimes.
So you have them backed up to two different places.
And sometimes
so
three.
It's just two, different formats of having redundancies, whereas I have lots of cards, so I can keep the cards that I have,
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's about having everything in 2, 3, 4 places.
Yeah.
At the end, after you're done. And I even, because our weddings are more spaced out this year than they've ever been, because we only had 20 this year, I'm able to do that more often, assuming that, for instance, the podcast stuff and corporate stuff, those take up less space. So I'm able to just use those cards and at least save one of my two cards from the previous wedding, and as long as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, backing up on multiple spots. Also, a lot of people on one of their backup drives, it's either in the cloud, which that's a different animal these days, because a lot of these companies that started with unlimited cloud storage are backtracking on that. So then you're either paying an incredibly increased price to back up your insane amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you have to not use cloud storage, which that's the struggle. So some people get an additional hard drive and then store that off-site.
Yeah.
Or in a Firebox. I would highly recommend a Firebox.
Post-wedding, as well, not just, uploading and all that stuff. Even before that, when we leave a wedding, let me back up. So when we're coming to a wedding, all of our gear, depending on the day, I already have cards in my camera. Alex already has cards in his camera, but my card case is probably in my camera bag. And then once the day gets started, I end up putting the card case in my fanny pack. So it's on me. I can quickly change that. But when the night's over and we're leaving, no matter where we're at, even if it's like a home, like, and it's very private and everything like that, I'm always going to have the cards on me. Like, well, I'm never going to put them in my bag and then carry my bag out. I'm going to have the cards on my body.
So like, yeah. So our process is we pack everything up, and then in the process of packing up, cards come out of the cameras and into the card case.
Yeah.
And those card cases don't go back in the camera case.
No.
Those card cases go on our person, whether in my jacket pocket, my regular pocket, my
or
shoulder bag.
Yeah, something.
Anything that is not where the cameras are.
Yeah.
Because in the event, for example, if someone were to try to steal your stuff.
Yeah. I'd gladly just give them my case.
Let them have the case. That's what insurance is for. But what you cannot, what insurance won't cover and get back is the cards, the stuff that's on the cards. That's the most important thing. So that actually gets me to kind of the point that I wanted to talk about. It might be, I'm not trying to like dog on anybody. I think this is a learning opportunity and an educational opportunity that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Because we've traveled for multiple weddings.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I was trying to think back, and I was really trying to put myself in this girl's shoes, being like, maybe it's a long flight. She's exhausted. Clearly should have shot a wedding. Like, I get that. Like, 100% I get that. And like, shit just happens. Like, everyone makes mistakes. Like, listen, I've made so many mistakes in my career, I can't even count. But I was trying to think back and being like, well, what could have happened? I truly don't know, like, why she left her bag on the plane. I don't know, if she was dealing with a personal issue that she just like wasn't thinking about it, or what the case might be. But personally, when we've traveled for out-of-state weddings, we bring hard drives with us, and more often than not, we're not booking it right after the wedding day. We're staying the night wherever we're located and then maybe leaving the next day.
Yeah.
And what we've done is we will put everything on the hard drive in the hotel room or the Airbnb or where we're at. We upload all the cards to a hard drive. That way, even though we're out of town, they're still in 2 places.
There'd be 3 at that point.
Yeah. So, I don't know if she did that or not.
I'm going to guess no.
I'm going to guess no as well. Regardless, even if she had done that, if the hard drive was in her bag, I mean, she left her bag. So like, both redundancies are gone.
Well, right. And like, that just brings the point home more that like, the cards themselves are never in the camera bag if there is sensitive content on it, which I say sensitive content as the wedding footage.
Yeah.
The wedding photos are on the cards. Those cards do not go in the camera case. They stay with you, whether in the backpack that I have on my shoulders and I lay at my feet in the plane.
Yeah.
Whatever. That right there is one huge learning point that I think needs to be driven home huge.
Yeah, I mean, so like what it looks like for me, obviously like you have so much more gear when we have to travel for weddings, but primarily we both carry on our regular cameras and batteries. But so like my camera bag would go in the overhead bin.
And so would mine.
But when we're traveling to the wedding, yeah, my cards are probably in the camera bag. But when we're coming home, my camera bag still goes on the overhead, but my purse or like whatever, my personal bag, the cards are in my personal bag and probably in some sort of like other type of bag, like a toiletry bag or something like that, where I know that it can't just fall out. Like something big has to fall out of my bag to know that they're out.
Right.
So they're like super protected inside my bag that's on me.
And that's the same with my backpack. It's zipped up. They're not going anywhere, and it's never out of my sight.
Right.
So it's either on my back or laying at my feet under the seat in front of me in the plane.
Yeah.
Because I know that my camera bag has to go above head because it's a big camera bag.
And that was one of the questions that I had for you was like, do we know if she had multiple bags that she had to get above head and then one with her? We don't know that.
But that brings me to my second point.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I'm traveling with gear, and this gear is not cheap.
Yeah.
Like, in one camera bag, what is it? $15,000, $20,000 for the gear?
Yeah.
I'm not going to forget that. I will forget my backpack that's in front of me before I forget that. And I think that just comes down to maybe she hasn't traveled for a wedding much.
Yeah.
Maybe she's newer. I don't know the details. So I'm not dogging on anything because we all make mistakes. It's more of so we need to be talking about this because it's important.
How can we talk about this topic and also educate others on like how to not make this mistake? And I think that the answer is just like protecting your client's investment in every aspect of what you're doing, being very intentional with how you choose to travel with your gear and travel with your cards, and paying attention. It's these are things that you can't get back. Like this bride, this couple, these families, they don't have any photos. Like that is so sad. And I think that I heard that the bride and the couple were being very understanding, which I'm very happy about that because, we've said a dozen times already, everyone makes mistakes. So them being really understanding and compassionate, I think is
and I heard
super
they had a
important,
videographer, and I did hear that the videographer is going to pull stills, but that's still not the same.
It's just not the same. I would be devastated.
100%. And I think regardless of why it happened.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure it doesn't happen. And so, like,
we wanted to just talk about like ways to protect.
If you're going to travel, your priority before your clothing and your toiletries and all that stuff is the gear you are taking with you.
Yeah.
That is your priority.
Yeah.
After the wedding day, your priority, even before the gear, even before your clothes and toiletries, are the cards that you shot everything on.
Yeah.
Or the hard drive that you put everything on. SSD, solid state hard drive, it's this big, tiny little thing.
Yeah.
It will fit in your pocket easier than your phone will these days. Dump that and then literally put it in your pocket and keep it in your pocket.
Yeah.
If you don't have something to put the cards in that's not the camera bag.
Right.
That's just anything you can do to make protecting your client's stuff is better. There's no such thing as too much.
Right. I agree.
One thing we talked about, like when we were talking about this and just like how devastating it was, is air tags, tile.
Oh, yeah.
All these GPS tracker things.
We need to get some of those.
I've been talking about it.
Yeah, we don't have, we don't have those.
Honestly,
and
we
we
haven't
need to get them.
traveled a ton since those happened. So
no, only a couple times.
That was the primary reason I wanted to get it, is because I want to be able to put it in my bags to make sure they're actually getting on the plane.
Yeah.
However, I also would want to put them inside the lining of our actual camera bags. And had she done this, it's not a matter of I can't find my bag. It's, hey, my bag's right here.
Right.
Wherever this is, whoever has it, I know where it's at because
Right.
the GPS tracker is telling me where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a good idea.
That would be a simple thing. And I mean, air tags are like $30.
Are they really?
They're super cheap.
How do they just connect to your phone?
So they ping off of other Apple devices.
Okay.
So like if you go in to...
Like you don't have to pay for like an extra like...
No.
Okay.
So you go in and it's like it goes on the same app as a Find My Phone thing.
Okay, yeah.
So you can go in and find your phone or find where your laptop is, your iPad or whatever. You just add an air tag and you name the air tag.
Yeah.
Camera bag too.
I will say, like, I remember we were in Florida.
Oh, the Turo thing?
Yeah, we were in Florida and we rented a car off Turo. And I got a notification that an air tag was following us. And I, me being... paranoid and watching too much true crime, I freaked out. And then you have the ability to like,
even if it's
sound,
not yours.
do the sound to see if it's like in like wherever you're at, if it's like in where you're at. And it started going off and it was in the car. And I was like, oh my God, where is this? And it was under the lining in the trunk where the spare tire goes. And at first I was like, that's creepy. Like they can literally see everywhere we're going. And I didn't like that, but as a business owner, I was like, I do kind of understand that. Like he wants to know where his car is going. I understand.
But
it did feel like an invasion of privacy. It did feel like a bit of an invasion of privacy. But I was able to turn it off. But random thing, he should have mentioned that. And
he probably should have.
Which he didn't. But I digress. But yeah, an air tag and our camera bags, we really should like prioritize that like No.
It doesn't even need to be an AirTag.
Like today.
There's other, like tile.
Yeah.
Is another. I think tile was around long before AirTag was.
Yeah.
But just like know where know where your stuff is, even if it's lost. Like that huge thing with the airlines, like canceling all those flights. There's like a 2-day period.
Was that primarily Southwest or was it something else?
It was Southwest, and I think there was other airlines that had a lot, but Southwest was the biggest. But they had like all these flights grounded and all this luggage that people had just kind of at the airports, and
they didn't know where any of their stuff was at.
They were telling people that they didn't know where the stuff is, but then there are also people that had AirTags.
And they're like, I can see it.
It's in this room. Just go get it.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
So I mean, that's a huge, easy way to do it.
Yeah.
So like, honestly, shit happens.
Yeah.
And we all make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah. But when you're doing a job like what we do, it is like your responsibility as the photographer or videographer, one, to understand the impact and the magnitude of how much responsibility you are holding in your hands. And we preach this on this podcast and just in our business all the time about the responsibility of our job. And it goes but like far beyond just what we're doing on the day of. And this is a prime example of that. Like our jobs are so important and there's so many different things about what we do that can make or break a whole day that you cannot get back. So we truly hold so much responsibility. And this is just one of those things that it's not talked about, I feel like, enough. And that's
until it is a problem.
And I think that this is going to be an unfortunate way for people to learn a lot of good lessons. But yeah, I do think that it's important to talk about.
I think the situation was 100% avoidable, and I hate to say it that way.
Yeah.
But whatever was going on, obviously something was going on for you to leave your camera bag.
Yeah.
But let's not make that mistake.
Yeah.
Let's learn from the mistake and do things to set yourself up and have attention to detail so that it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I fully agree.
I mean, SD cards are like an inch by a half inch or something.
They're easy to lose. Like I've lost them.
They're easy to lose, but also there's little
I've had my dog chew them up.
There's little tiny cases you can buy to just put the cards in there and put them in your pocket.
Yeah.
If you don't have anywhere else to put them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like the hard drive thing, put them in a tiny case. Whatever. There's places. There's things you can do.
There are things that you can do for sure. Yeah.
This is a short episode, but I thought that was a very important thing to add.
Yeah.
Because I felt like
100%.
Yeah, we've been in the industry for a long time, and like these are things that are just like no brainers. Mm-hmm. But obviously,
it's one of those things that like you don't really think about like all the time, or like maybe even talk about it. But like when, like you said, when something like this happens, it's like, oh damn, like we really do take all the precautions that we possibly can.
And there's even more we can do, like we talked about.
Yeah.
But attention to detail and just take care of everything. And I think just honing in on the magnitude of what it means to have this content from that wedding day will ultimately put you in the mindset to protect that. Mm-hmm. It's like protecting a child because
literally.
I mean,
literally.
They only get married once most of the time.
Yeah.
At least that wedding day only happens once.
Yeah. I could not imagine. Being the photographer, I would just feel, I'm sure she feels horrible. And so this is like no shade to her at all. Truly, I don't know her. I don't know how long she's been doing this. I don't really know anything. I don't even know her name.
I just know, we only know it because of the connection of it. It was a St. Louis wedding.
Yeah. And like I said, you never know what's going on in somebody's life. So she could have gotten like the most terrible text or phone call like 5 minutes before she landed or something. And like her mind wasn't there. Who knows? But that's not to say, there are ways to prevent something like this from happening. And again, when you are in our line of work and you do what we do, it is our responsibility to protect the client's investment. And it's not just the financial investment. We talk about this, like we believe that our job and what we do is to help someone build their legacy. And so when we lose something like that, that's an emotional investment. That's an investment that goes beyond money, in my opinion. So that's a tough one. It's tough, but there are things that you can do to make sure that, you know, that's the thing. If you've taken every precaution and you've done everything that you can, shit can still happen.
Yep.
Like it can still happen, but at least you know that you've done everything possible.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's really all I had for this one. Cause I mean, it's a pretty cut and dry thing.
Yeah. How long is this? Not even 30 minutes.
Well, that was before the wasp.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Pre-wasp.
That was pre-wasp.
Oh God. Okay.
The wasp.
The wasp. It was a hornet.
It was a hornet, and hornets are
I
a-holes.
thought it was a wasp, but then when we crushed it, I was like, oh, this dude's got stripes on his little butt.
Fun fact, this is why I hate wasps so much. Other than the fact that I'm slightly allergic.
I already know what you're gonna say.
We went to the lake with a friend of ours, and
Several
they have a
years
lake
ago.
house. It was a long time ago. Were we married yet? We weren't married yet, and so it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But we were the first people at the lake house that year.
Yeah.
So we were kind of opening it up. So I walk out the back door to the steps to go down to the dock and the stuff. So we walk out and I don't know what we did outside. And then we came back up. As we're coming in, the screen door is opening and then closing hard. And then I was the last one to come in. And apparently there was a hornet's nest above that door. So the screen door
them.
closed so many times it angered them, and I got attacked by like 5, 6
You
hornets.
got stung so many times.
It was miserable. Had
Yeah.
to pop Benadryl, and I was
It was bad.
groggy all day and pain. It was bad.
Yeah, it was
so
pretty
I
bad.
despise hornets.
Yeah. One time when I was I wasn't little. I was in elementary school, but I was like riding on my bike, and I was like standing up on my bike and like pedaling really fast, and I was wearing a big t-shirt, and my t-shirt was like flowing in the wind.
We got a hornet in it?
2 wasps flew up my shirt and stung me multiple times.
Because they sting multiple times.
On my back.
Oof.
And it was like...
Did you crash?
No, but I like jumped off my bike, and like it was bad. It was bad.
Oof. That's brutal.
Yeah. Very bad. Anyway, random stories.
I'm sure they serve some sort of purpose, but they're a-holes.
Wasps? I really don't know.
They obviously eat bugs.
Let me look it up.
They obviously eat other bugs.
Look it up. Because I truly don't know what purpose wasp serves.
Do it in a voice thing.
No. I can't spell today.
What is the purpose of wasps? Pest control.
Pests, they help keep pest populations low. But like what? Parasitic. Oh, wait.
Other species of wasp are parasitic, and they help with pest control. Basically.
Yeah, but like what pest? Like, would I rather have the pest than the wasp?
Well, no, because that would affect your food. Because gardens keeps pests out of the gardens.
Oh, but wasps don't pollinate, do they?
I think wasps do, but hornets don't, or something like that. I don't know actually. But they keep bugs out of the.
So this question is: do wasps do anything beneficial? Wasps are top predators of crop damaging insects like aphids. Aphids. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, they keep crops.
They do pollinate. Farms. I did not know that they pollinate.
They keep.
Well, gosh, now I kind of feel bad. For the longest time, I thought that they didn't pollinate or do anything beneficial.
Yeah, but we killed the wasps because wasps are a-holes and they sting just because they feel like stinging. Not Ross, hornets. Hornets are just, they get in the mood and decide, I'm going to poke my butt into you and it's going to hurt.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, I think we're done with this podcast. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Protect your investments and wasps.
And stay away from wasps.
A-holes.
Anyway, okay. Oh my God. This is what happens when we don't have a guest. Okay. All right, guys. That's it for this one. Hopefully there was some takeaway with this. If you don't have an air tag in your camera bag, you should do that.
Unless you're an anti-Apple person, in which case,
get a tile.
Get an apple.
Get an apple. Oh my God. Okay.
Apple tag a day keeps the doctor away.
Oh jeez.
Right? Is that what it is?
No.
Oh.
No. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. This was a short one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.